streaming deals, things are popping, and right away, I want to put up this deal. So the Q990F is the flagship soundbar from Samsung in 2025. And at 1139, it's crazy how inexpensive it is based on its total performance, immersion, everything. This is the soundbar to get if you're shopping in this price range. It is so solid. So I had to show this before it runs out because already I'm seeing different sizes of TVs on Best Buy running out. Like the QM6K, you can't even get a 65 or 75 inch anymore. So I'm going to put it up there for you guys. And we're going to answer whatever questions you have as well today, right? So obviously it's Black Friday. You have lots of questions. You don't want to miss any deals. And oftentimes these prices, they literally are as long as inventory is in stock. So as they disappear, they are gone. They're just disappearing and the prices will return to what it was. And what's crazy is the one step down, the Q930F, it's $100 more. I'm like, wait a minute. The flagship is cheaper than their mid-tier entry level good soundbar, right? So, but let me say hi to everyone. And I know we already have a super chat, so we will definitely get to that ASAP. But let me throw in the prices I have right now for you guys so that if you're shopping, right, let me take this down. So yes, this is just an amazing price. So I'll put it right here next to me. And let me take this down here. There we go. Okay, so we have mini LED TVs that are up, and these prices are Black Friday prices that are being price matched everywhere, essentially. So this is the mini LED TVs, and if I don't put the TV up, it's because I don't think it's either a great deal or isn't performant enough. And here we have the OLED TVs. That is right here, right? So we will toggle between the OLED prices and the mini LED prices depending on what your taste is. So if you have questions and so forth, we'll throw it up, we'll answer it. And prices, again, regardless of your retailer, right? Best Buy, Crutchfield, Amazon, or of course, Robert Zone at Valley Electronics, they're all authorized dealers to sell the same price. So call whoever your preferred retailer is. Now, of course, we like to give a shout out to Robert Zone at Valley Electronics because he's the only retailer that will calibrate your TV before you buy it in all different viewing conditions, right? Just give him a call, he'll do that. And he'll QC, so to make sure that when you receive your TV, he's already checked it, it's already been broken in for like 200 hours so that it calibrates properly. And he's the only one that will do gaming calibration, HGIG, on your TV. So if that's important to you, that's there. All right, let me jump into your amazing questions. And again, happy Black Friday, everybody. Happy Black Friday. Let's look at this immediate super chat. John Raker, and thank you so much. You're ready to buy. Hey, FOMO, upgrading to a 75-inch or larger from a 2014 Sony curved TV, 65-inch, streaming movies, bright room. So you want off-axis viewing, you're 12 feet away, you want quality and a good warranty. So we'll talk about the good warranty. You almost always have to get an extended warranty now. The warranty that comes with these TVs are essentially not quote unquote good. They're a year. If it's a OLED G5, LG G5, there's a manufacturer's panel warranty, but it doesn't include labor, but they will do a panel replacement if it burns in or has any issues over 5 years. That's only on the LG G5, G4, and G3. And so what comes down to is though, you have a bright room and you want 75-inch or larger. So you're used to Sony look and you have a budget of $3,700. So let's look at what's available. But again, let's save some money there and put it into an extended warranty. As long as you get it under $3,700 before taxes, right? Let's see what we got here. So the Sony, so you're used to Sony quality, under $3,700. You have the Bravia 9 is so close. I mean, it's at $37.99 for the 85-inch. 75-inch obviously is slightly cheaper. A bit cheaper, includes extended warranty, but you're at 75 inches. Or we can take a look going to OLED at 83 or 77 inches, right? So let's take a look at that. 3799 S90F. 77 inches is 1999. S95F at 3499 plus an extended warranty, you'd be around 3700. Man, I'm looking at that. And then you have the 77-inch G5 at 3499. So you get the manufacturer's panel replacement warranty. The 83-inch on either the G5 or the S95F is definitely above your budget. So really, you're looking at the 77-inch G5 or, oh yeah, you're in a bright room, so I wouldn't suggest either the C5 or the B5. I'm liking, you're used to Sony, so you know what, let's look at the mini LEDs, only because you're so used to LCDs anyway. The Bravia 9 is definitely the Sony look that you're used to, plus the image quality is so much better. Or the Bravia 5, wow, can you get to 98 inches though? Because you're 12 feet away. I know I'm pushing you for the Bravia 5 now because I'm looking, wow, 98 inches, you have a few options, right? But you're used to how Sony looks. I don't think you're going to deal with anything beyond plug and play, which is a Sony thing, right? So I'd stick with Sony, but the Sony OLEDs in a bright room with that east window, I prefer you look at the Bravia 9. So let me see, John, tell me about your preferences for brands, because if you like to stick with a Sony, I definitely would go with that. Um, so let me know, because you got the Bravia 9s, and but it's quite a push though for your budget at $37.99. So, but then so close to that, you have the 98-inch, but you don't have the anti-glare coating. But it may not be an issue because I keep on saying to myself, no matter what, if you upgrade from your older TV, this is such a huge improvement, right? 'Cause it's all relative to what you're used to. So let me know where you're leaning, and these are the current deals out there. Again, everyone price matches. So if they have a price matching chat person there, go into chat, show them the link and all that good stuff, and see what you can do with that. That's pretty exciting. I love, like, oh, this is the time to buy a TV, right? This is it. All right, let's see what else we got here, guys. And I'm going solo today, so if I missed your question, keep on asking. Keep on asking. Sony is great. LG and Panasonic are interesting. Can go up in budget. All right, then if you can go up in budget, and we're only talking a few $100s, decide between a 98-inch Bravia 5 at $39.99 or the Bravia 9, $37.99, 85-inch. Now, here's the biggest difference. The Bravia 9 is, to me, literally the best Sony mini LED TV ever made by Sony, and more importantly, it's easily among the best TVs out there. And, oh, 1 second here, get this. One second here. Okay, back on. I'm getting phone calls now. Hey, what's this deal? This and that. Like, no, you're gonna go online. Okay, so LG and Panasonic are interesting, and LG, okay, so we're at the point where if you go into filmmaker mode, almost all these TVs are solid. However, if you're used to a certain look that's consistent in all of your modes, standard mode, put in expert 1 for Sony, or vivid mode, or professional on Sony's, right? It's a consistency that's across all the modes. So that's what I like about Sony, and Sony fans are what they expect. Whereas LG and Panasonic, we'll start with Panasonic, in their accurate filmmaker mode. It's filmmaker, but everything else, they're playing with different color profiles just to have fun with it. And so you end up spending way more time because I think Panasonic has more picture modes than any TV maker. We're talking just so many. And then you have LG, which really try to, you got the filmmaker, solid, but then you have vivid, which is super bright, super neon. Then you have standard. So they really try to go with what defines the expectations of that mode rather than hold on to a consistency. So I say stick with Sony and just decide on the size. You want to go larger, 98-inch. And to me, immersion is so important because whatever Sony you're coming from, 2014, the Bravia 5 is going to be awesome. It's going to look better, except it's going to be bigger. Now, the only thing is the Bravia 9 has that definite jump in contrast that the Bravia 5 doesn't have. And although the Bravia 9 is brighter, you make up the difference with the size. So I wouldn't go size to size the same because then you'll see the brightness difference. But if you go bigger, then perceptually, that brightness actually is compensated by the size. So think about that, John, but I'm excited to see what you end up doing. And we're going to have Robert Zone on later in the broadcast because he's got some deals and stuff and he got some special offers. So he carries all the flagship brands. And if you need it to be fully calibrated, he'll do it there on the spot. Does the Bravia 9 have decent audio? My friend, it is probably one of the best audio systems out there on a TV. So Sony is really focused on making the TV audio awesome. So Bravia 9, definitely awesome, awesome audio. And the strangely enough, the only TV that matches it in audio size would be for MiniLED, the Hisense U75 or U8. They also have amazing audio. And yeah, or a Panasonic, right? Panasonic really focused on audio, maybe too much. Their TVs are way heavy because of the audio. But yes, don't worry about the audio on the Bravia 9. It's excellent. Okay. Here's a good one. Is there a good formula for screen size? Okay, so the formula for screen size has changed so much over the years. Basically, any formula that's over 4 years old, and I'm going to say that, or over 3 years old, maybe even over 2 years old, is no longer relevant because they're so focused on the classic pixel pitch to distance. That's not the point anymore because to me, so I'll tell you where I sit. I sit about 9 to 10 feet from a 120-inch projector screen, ultra short through projector. I use a Hisense L9Q. And to me, that's perfect. It's 4K. I don't see the pixels. I'm just 9 to 10 feet away. Now, some people are like, well, you know, that close you could see the softness. You have to ask yourself, what's the trade-off? I don't see the softness, but if I had a 77-inch 4K next to it, and then I sat closer to the 77-inch, clearly the 77-inch is sharper, right? But it's a trade-off of immersion. I would take that immersion all day long, but those of you who are sensitive to quote-unquote softness, I get it. But you can't rely on these equations because the equations don't take the immersion into consideration. They are focused on the old school, well, 720p, from this distance, you're going to see pixels. Well, back in the old days, that was the case, 720p. But today at 4K, this is a sweet spot. And don't even think 8K. The 8K upscaling stuff, I believe, is BS. Honestly, the upscaling has not impressed me. What they end up upscaling is they upscale the softness as well. So unless you have native 8K, oh, okay. Otherwise, it ends up being over sharpened to 8K and you lose brightness. So we are not going to talk about 8K. It brings nothing to the table beyond adding more processing, more pricing, and everything is lagged, right? It adds more latency. I think it's more of an inconvenience to image quality than it is escalating or elevating anything. To me, it's more important to have the immersion. And then as long as there's enough brightness for you to see in your viewing environment and you have the immersion, 4K is absolutely fine, even up to 115 inches. Okay, so hopefully that helps answer your question. Now, as far as how big do you get, right? So I use Phil Holland's tools, and he is completely behind sitting closer to these large TVs because he also, and he's producer, director, right? He does amazing work. And so we had a test where he had to sit about 5 to 6 feet away from a 75-inch, and we were in shock how immersive it was without being too close. So that's kind of like his thing, and he's from Hollywood. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have to redo how cinematographers are putting everything because people are sitting closer to larger TVs. And with that in mind, the focus is now different because if you notice back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right, close-ups were huge. You had these giant close-ups of people's profiles because they're still thinking TVs, 32-inch, 10 feet away. And so from that far, the close-ups make sense. But now you're like 6, 7 feet away from a 75-inch. Suddenly that's too much. So they're zooming out more. So just keep in mind that the content is now matching the trend towards sitting closer to larger, more immersive, to get that bigger immersion, right? Just something. But yeah, you broke my heart, FOMO. I was looking to import a Z4. If you guys don't know, this is LG's 8K TV. Yes, buddy, you gotta wake up. Do not spend that money to get an 8K OLED. You really don't. There's so much wrong with that, but yes. Hey, and thank you for showing up. Again, Black Friday, I'm gonna look at your questions. What is a great deal? If you want me to go online and do a quick search for something, let me know and we'll help you decide between soundbar deals. Hey, the best soundbar under $99, whatever. Throw it out there. We'll be here for at least 90 minutes and then I have to run to an event later. But I wanted to catch you guys here and answer your questions because many of you are deciding, what TV should I get? I got my budget, I got my size, what should I get? And this is the time to do it while the prices are hot because a lot of them will disappear by Monday. All right, PS Fat Boy, 77-inch Samsung S90F or the 77 S95D. The S95D is $1949 on Amazon right now, so roughly the same price. Gaming in a dark room. So the S95D and the S90F, they are very similar in so many ways. I actually had them side by side, and the S90F to me is essentially the S95D with the one big difference, which is the S95D has the anti-glare matte coating. I don't think you'll benefit from it because you're in a dark room. So the S90F gets you the latest of Samsung to a certain degree without the fear of the anti-glare matte controversy affecting you. And the S95D, what it also has is the One Connect box. In my opinion, that One Connect box may introduce an extra point of failure because you have to connect the cable to the One Connect. And I don't like that because you walk by, you kick it, things happen, and suddenly the cable is loose and you have issues. I would go with the S90F. I just like that it's all in one. You don't have to worry about it. And if it's the same price, then I'd go with the S90F because as far as image quality, they're nearly identical in my opinion. And gaming is the same as well. So yes, go with the S90F and enjoy. Let me know how you like it. Okay, here we go. FOMO, what is your best option of the best deal between Hisense and TCL? I'm looking for a 75 to 85 inch, budget 1500. Oh, well, let's look at that. So budget 1500, 75 to 85. So let's look at my little chart here. 1500. We have the QM8K at 1399 or the Hisense U75, so 85 is 1299. I'd go with the 85-inch Hisense U75Q. I have compared it next to the QM7K, 8K, and U8. And to me, the U75Q just rises above. I mean, it's my editor's choice, MiniLED TV, because of the value and the image quality. Now, if you game, then you may have to go with a QM7K, 1499, right? At 85 inches. But if you don't game, save the money, get an extended warranty. It has the best audio system at that price, bar none. There is no other TV that matches the U75Q audio system at under $1,500. It is just so good. The only shortcoming it has is its gaming performance, features, latency, just all of that. It's not as well thought out as TCL this year. So if you need to game some console gaming and you're somewhat serious about it, then I'd go with the QM7K. So to me, the Hisense probably has the most consistent image quality and color and natural skin tones, specifically the U7 compared to TCL. So if you watch mostly content and you don't care about gaming, U7 and again, it is currently at the 85-inch size, $12.99, Best Buy, Amazon, all of that. Or a little bit of gaming, then you have the QM7K, but it's a bit more expensive. So, but the U75Q is definitely brighter if you need that extra punch to watch sports in a bright room. So hopefully that was helpful. Hey, it's the big screen guy. All right, what you got? Wanted to circle back, something we discussed a few live streams ago. The 83-inch S95F. So if you guys don't remember, there was the discussion whether it was using a tandem four stack a primary RGB OLED from LG or not. And let's see, it is using LG's latest primary RGB OLED. So there we go. And if you guys don't know, the Big Screen Store is a retailer of Samsung. So we double checked, and there you go, from the retailer himself. Thank you for confirming it. And now we've always assumed it. Samsung would not confirm it officially. And I know in Europe, Vincent has inspected it, and he says in Europe at least, it is the 83-inch S95F is primary RGB. But as we know, regional differences being what they are, we weren't certain about the USA. So now we are. Big Screen has confirmed it. So this goes to the G5's disastrous launch, posterization, and the C5. Did they fix it? And so here we are. FOMO, I am sensitive to posterization. If you guys don't know what that is, it's that banding that you see sometimes in certain scenes, right? Especially if it's low light, you're going to see color banding between colors. Should I buy the G5 with its issues or wait for the G6? So I'll tell you this right now. G6 at best won't solve it. Only QD-OLED eliminates it. And among the QD-OLEDs that eliminate it, it's the Samsung S90F, S95F, S95D, S90D. Even Sony HDR, Bravia 8 Mark II, and I don't know if the A95L has it, but definitely the Bravia 8 Mark II, HDR has this posterization. And it's not an SDR, but for whatever reason, it's an HDR. Panasonic does it better than LG slightly for the Z95B, but because of the nature of WOLED, they will never completely eliminate it. It's been an ongoing issue with LG. It's just the G5 was a little worse than the G4. It's not like it just appeared. The G4 had it as well, and we expect the G6 to continue to have it. It's just the nature of WOLED. So if you don't want posterization, you are sensitive, you have to get a Samsung, either the cheaper S85, the 55 and 65 inch are the only ones that are QD-OLED, but it's not as bright, or you go up to the S90F, 55, 65, or 77 inch. And if you go to the S95F, the 83-inch will be more similar to the G5. So you got to limit yourself to those three sizes, right? 55, 65, 77. And I'm hearing rumors that G6 will incorporate some type of hybrid blue phosphorescent tech. The rumors are there. Whether they do it or not, it will do two things, though. It is not necessarily to improve image quality. One, to get it even brighter than it already is, more efficiency, hopefully to improve lifetimes. So it's more practical reasons, but not directly to address posterization. I believe the posterization issue is more directly related to the W in WOLED, white subpixel. You're just not getting the color saturation you need, and you're not getting it. And the result is you're probably getting posterization because every WOLED TV has this issue to a certain degree. So unless they do direct view RGB and get rid of the W, the white subpixel altogether, it's not going to work. So if this hybrid blue phosphorescent tech allows them to go direct view RGB, yes, but we don't know. So I don't want to make any promises. And most of all, the G6, if they go this direction, it'll be a first generation. Do not adopt first generation anything is our saying, right? Like the primary RGB, this is first generation and people are complaining. So I go with QD-OLED if posterization is an issue for you. I've got a few super chats, so let's hit it real quick. Thank you for your patience, my friend. Jimmy Metter asks, unhappy with a 98-inch QM8K, 720p sports upscaling on YouTube TV. I have issues with that as well. Need a 90 to 100 inch with better processing under 4500. Sony Bravia 5, 98-inch. They are known for processing just across the board. It's solid. Just go with that. It is, oh, but it's under 4,500, right? So let me look at the prices real quick we got here. I mean, the QN90F is 9,000, clearly too much. Oh, 39.99. Okay, you're there. There you go. Go with the Sony Bravia 5 because you're focused on processing. What you're paying for with TCL is brightness, right? Extra brightness, extra dimming zones, extra contrast. They're throwing hardware at you, but they're not improving the processing. And so you have a choice. I don't know if Hisense would be any better, honestly, because both of them are so focused on the hardware. Now, I do know Hisense has improved their color accuracy compared to past TVs, but their motions issues in terms of gaming are still there. And that means that they're really focused on the hardware to give you the contrast and the brightness right now. Sony's more focused on processing as part of what they do. And at that price of $39.99, the Bravia 5 at 98 inches, I think is a good place to go to. And let me know if that improves your issues. Now, it may be that no TV you get is going to help YouTube TV. So let's take the TV. I don't want to throw all the TVs under the bus. Sometimes on YouTube TV, the signal is so bad, no TV can fix it. That's on YouTube. So keep that in mind. It could be the source. And it's not your internet connection. It's just YouTube TV is unable to deliver the bit rate needed, regardless of your internet connection and regardless of your TV. So, because I don't want people upgrading to a $9,000 Samsung Q990F only to find out, wait, still looks like crap. So the source may also be incurable to a certain degree, right? So yes, the TV does help, but the source also needs to have enough information. All right, next up, Super Chat. Thank you. It is GB5125. I ordered the 98-inch Q7M for $19.99 delivered. Should I trade it in for the Hisense 100-inch U75QG that costs $2,200? What soundbar should I pair it with? So, the U75 is excellent. The audio may be good enough that with a soundbar, get one with, so soundbar, anytime you get a soundbar, get it with a subwoofer. Otherwise, the TV audio often is good enough for dialogue, and just the loudness of the dialogue is fine enough. If you want that extra impact of the cinema, you have to get a soundbar with a subwoofer match. And among the big brands, I think Samsung has kind of like a good combination of soundbar and sub. So I don't know what is offered in Mexico though, but you're safe with Samsung. Also, this year's Hisense and TCL, they're releasing their satellite system with a sub. That's great. I really like the Valerian Thunderbeat. That thing, I've been testing it. It's amazing for around $1,000, right? It's 4 satellites, wireless, plus a wireless speaker, a subwoofer, plug and play, boom, it works as well. But it depends on your budget. If your budget's around $1,000, Samsung, Valerian, as long as there's a subwoofer, get a surround option. You got to have the surround satellite to give you the full immersion. If you only need a soundbar and a sub and you want the cheapest possible, honestly, anything from Amazon, even no name, right? They give you 30 days, just try it out, extra $80 for an extended warranty. It fits the bill because you get a subwoofer. And then you go up from there. So, but the 100-inch U75Q, because it's so big, I think the audio out of the TV, you'll be surprised at how good it is. So try that and let me know. But it is brighter, definitely brighter than Q7M at 98 inches. The U75 also has more natural skin tones. I personally, if you're watching content and you're not gaming, I think it's worth it. But if you are gaming, stick with a Q7. So, well, hopefully that answered your question. And got another super chat. Jaime Mendez, thank you for that. Wife approved 5,000. Oh, lovely wife. 5,000 is such a great budget. And a 98-inch, so you get to fit it in. All right. TCL X11K is $5,000 from 13. but no reviews anywhere. Any experience with it? On paper, it looks better than the QM9K. It is not. I'll tell you this. The X11K, in my opinion, right, this is not coming from TCL, on paper, it feels like a 2024 TV. They were unable to get it out in time, and now they're releasing it in 2025. And the reason I say that is lacking all of the latest technology that's on the QM6, QM7, QM8, and QM9. Specifically, the new mini-LED system that's 23-bit that's on the QM9K. Secondly, the crisp glow where it has better wide viewing angle, slightly. Uh, it's lacking these little hardware specs that I think is a 2025 identifier for the latest. The X11K does have a lot of dimming zones, but as we know, it's not the dimming zone, it's the software. And the software on the X11K or on the QM8, QM9, QM7, I think has hit a cap for TCL this year. Their hardware exceeds their software. So it doesn't matter that the X11K hardware may be as good, slightly better, or slightly worse when your software cannot push the X11K to where it needs to be. And lastly, what TCL did tell me though is X11K is for cinema movies. They want to make the ultimate movie watching TV, but it's definitely not a gaming TV. If you want gaming, go with a QM series, 6K, 7K, 8 or 9K. And so with that limitation in mind, it feels like you're paying extra for, it could be the casing is beautiful. I saw it, it's really nicely done. And the audio might be great, right? But as far as pure image quality, 5,000 is a hefty price to pay. For 98 inches and your budget's 5,000, I go with the QM9K at $39.99. So let me tell you what I like about the QM9K. The color is really good. Color accuracy this year for the QM9K is the best of any TCL TVs I've reviewed out of the box, right? If you don't calibrate, it's amazing. It has better contrast. It looks the most natural for movie watching, and it can game. And it hits your price point easily. And the audio's fine. You might still want to get a soundbar to kind of get that feel, right? The immersive soundbar. With the money saved, I say go get a soundbar system so you get the full surround. Yeah. Let me know what you end up choosing, Jaime. I think the QM9K is the better TV, personally. I would get that instead. Brandon, what happened to the Hisense U9QG for 2025? Delayed? This is what we're talking about, right? So we're like, the X11K I thought should have been released last year. It ends up out this year. Yeah, the U9 announced, and then suddenly, where is it? It could be delayed, or maybe it's too expensive. They're looking at it like, wait, we're selling TVs $2,000 to $3,000 like hotcakes. U9 is going to be significantly more. It won't be selling like hotcakes. You know what? Let's just hold off until next year, until the economy gets better. So it may be either supply chain issues that it's delayed, but definitely I haven't seen hide nor hair of this TV. So, but in 2026, we'll have all new TVs. Don't shed a tear for the U9. And honestly, I think the U75 has risen above a lot of its more expensive brethren, like the U8. So yeah, I don't know what U9 would bring to the table that the QM9K hasn't already tried to deliver, personally. And thank you, Leonardo, for that super chat. Is it a good upgrade to go from a Samsung Q990B 75-inch to a TCL 98-inch? Would I be disappointed at anything? So the QM7K at 98-inch, first of all, 98 inches. The immersion is there. The brightness is there. What you will be slightly missing is filmmaker mode on the Samsung is more accurate than on the TCL. The TCL slightly over brightens the QM7K. It's not terrible, but it's not as accurate out of the box as the Q90. So if you watch a lot of TV shows and stuff, it'll be a little different. But because of that size, you're going to get immersion, you're going to get brightness. The contrast on the QM7K, I believe, is better than the Q9B. So you're going to get improvements in contrast and specular highlights. Gaming, should be very similar, although Samsung has more motion settings in gaming, Game Motion Plus. Samsung just does basic gaming very well, meaning you plug in a console, you get your options, it looks great no matter what game you're playing. And they have enough game profiles, color profiles to play with that you'll be happy. I think the difference between Tizen and Google TV is what you'll be seeing as the biggest difference. I find Tizen to be easier to navigate. Google TV is Google TV, right? You get used to it, it's no big deal. So I think the immersion is the upgrade. You won't be disappointed in that. But yeah, I think you're fine because TCL is so similar to Samsung in many ways. Ultimately, it's a mini LED TV. You're going to be impressed by the specular highlight improvement as well as the contrast improvement for sure. And buddy, hey, you're welcome. Thank you for that generous super chat. Thank you for the Q&A. I am here for you guys. And speaking of, just keep on asking your questions, my friend, because we'll be bouncing back and forth. I know I have the mini LED TVs up here. We could also bounce up the OLED TV. So let's talk real quick about OLED pricing because I know you've been looking at the mini LED. In my opinion, if you're going with OLED and you watch a lot of content and you have light controlled room or even semi-dark, the LG B5 is the way to go. It just gives you that 83-inch, 1999. It's a good starter, especially if you're coming from an older LCD TV, which wasn't that bright anyway. B5 is bright enough. Then you have the G5 as easily the brightest TVs money can buy, whether it's mini LED or OLED. The G5 is just a bright cannon. It's like a laser cannon, but it's expensive. You're paying for the premium, and it's the only model that's offering the 97-inch size, so that 25,000. You're going to wait. Like Best Buy doesn't even have it on its link. This is one where you would order through Robert Zone at Valley Electronics, right? You go through a boutique dealer. They will make sure to put you on a list and tell you when the delivery is because it feels like this TV is made to order at the 97-inch size. It's not sitting in stock anywhere because it's so expensive. And now, the Samsung S85F, I'm uncomfortable recommending it over LG TVs, mostly because the QD-OLED is limited to 55 and 65 inches, but the brightness is dimmer. But if you're going to be dim brightness, you don't take full advantage of QD-OLED. The whole point of QD-OLED is kind of that extra color luminance. Then you should jump to the S90F. So for me, if you're going with a B5, there's no reason to pay a little more for the S85F. You either jump to the S90F or stay at the B5. I don't believe the S85F brings anything new to the table because QD-OLED at that brightness is kind of pointless. Like, what are you doing here? So that's kind of my take on that. All right. Let's look at your questions now. Hey, FOMO. Connecting to the posterization question, is the S90F worth it over the G5 for the same price, or does the brightness of the G5 make up for the WOLED issues? No. No, no, no. Brightness does not make up the difference. First of all, why do you need the brightness? Now, I'm an HDR impact guy. So if I'm watching Alpha, Mad Max, I need that full screen brightness with that extra bright specular highlights. Or I'm watching certain movies where I know I need that impact, right? The G5, worth it. Secondly, sports, bright room, and I need super bright OLED in a bright room, vivid mode. The G5 preserves that color saturation, vivid mode, better than any other OLED I've ever seen. Bright, holds on to white hockey eyes, right? It doesn't dim. That's the G5. But that's the only time the brightness makes a difference. Everything else, you're going to notice posterization because there's no reason to up the brightness for any other reason. You're just artificially amping up the brightness, whereas the S90F has its bright room mode, right? It's active movie and active tone mapping. You take the G5, you put it in cinema home, it will be brighter, right? It has great full screen brightness, but the posterization in those dark scenes will still be there. So one doesn't offset the other, right? Oh, I'm in a bright room. Looks great. Maybe slightly brighter than S90F. Then you go to a dark scene. Oh, you're sensitive to posterization. I see the posterization. Not there in the S90F. But that brightness doesn't make up the difference because you'll be sensitive. You'll be triggered by the posterization. Don't overthink it. Now, if you don't notice the posterization, G5 is phenomenal because it could do so much in a bright room. But you're sensitive to posterization, and so for you, don't overthink it. Just there are things what I call when you buy a TV non-negotiables, and everyone's non-negotiable is different. For some people, it's size, and for you, it's posterization. If that's your non-negotiable, don't choose any WOLED. Just go with a QD-OLED that you can afford at a size you can afford and be done with it. So yeah, know what your non-negotiable is, because as you start to compromise that, you're going to be very unhappy. Now you have a TV that does something great. It turns out you don't care about that much. All right. Here we go. Bebop Jazz. FOMO. I am still very torn between the 85-inch Bravia 9, the 77-inch 8095L. So you got a size jump. Console gamer, Apple TV, Panasonic UB820. Are the TVs close enough? I'm better off getting the larger 9, about 9 to 10 feet away. So console gamer, when you say console gamer and you list that first, I'm very uncomfortable suggesting the Bravia 9 because the A95L is a better gaming TV. All OLEDs are better than their mini-LED counterpart, right? It's just the nature of how the technologies are. The 77-inch A95L is not as bright as the Bravia 9, nor as large, right? 85-inch is what it is. The TVs are different. One, you get size, immersion, but you're going to lose a little bit on the latency, right? The Bravia 9's latency doesn't even come close to the 77-inch A95L. Now, that looks similar to a certain degree. If you watch mostly content and you game less, and you are 9 to 10 feet away, the 85-inch, you're going to enjoy the content a bit more because of the size immersion. But if you're coming from a smaller 65-inch, then go with the 77-inch A95L because you're still getting the size bump, and it'll still be better than what you had before. But if you're coming from a 75-inch and you go into a 77, you won't notice that size difference very much, but you will notice the improved contrast, and you might game a little bit better. So I'd say go with the 77 if you're coming from a smaller 55, 65, and you'll be good. But the 85, I really like that extra size jump because you're sitting 9 to 10 feet away. But the gaming, definitely, if you're sensitive to lag or latency, I mean, to me, it's fine. I've gamed on the Bravia 9 on my PS5 Pro, but a lot of you guys, oh, it's like 25 milliseconds or 30 milliseconds, unacceptable. I need it to be at 12 milliseconds or 15. I go, I get it. I'm not going to argue that point. It just depends on how sensitive you are with the whole gaming difference, because that is, I think, the key difference. Everything else, the 85-inch, makes up for it in immersion. Yeah, you lose a little contrast. And off angle, though. You lose a little bit more off angle. Off angle viewing on the Bravia 9 doesn't compare to off angle on an OLED. So if you're not always sitting in front of the TV, you're off to the side, you got your wet bar or whatever, and you turn over and you're off by more than 30 degrees, you'll notice that on the Bravia 9. The A95L looks phenomenal at all angles. So that might be a consideration as well. Okay. And online services, questions. FOMO, OLED's biggest feature is perfect blacks. Could your OLED loses perfect blacks in a bright room? Yes. Watching during the day or with the lights on, correct? Correct. We've seen this on my spring comparison. So if you go back to April, right, I did a giant comparison between WOLED and QD-OLED, and you saw it. The Bravia 8 Mark II and the S95F. In the dark scenes, you saw the change in color, the lifting of the blacks, right? It was more dark gray. You saw that slight brown tint on the G5 and the G4. Just perfect blacks. Just the contrast was there. Isn't this a big disappointment and a strike against QD-OLED? Absolutely. I have reviewer friends who refuse to buy QD-OLED for that reason, because there's enough light in their room, they see it. They're reviewers. They're sensitive to it. Like, look, guys, it's great in a dark room. I'm not in a dark room. That's fine. I'll get a G5 and I'll live with the posterization. So online services, as I've said, what is your non-negotiable point? Is it slightly lifted blacks when the scene is dark and you have uncontrollable bright ambient lighting, right? QD-OLED, you're sensitive to it. You cannot unsee it. It will always annoy you, especially if you're coming from a normal WOLED. If you're coming from an LCD TV, it's still an improvement. So where are you coming from? So online services, if you're coming from a cheaper LCD TV, this is still better. The QD-OLED is still a step up. But if you're coming from like, 8-year-old OLED from LG, you'll notice it. So you might want to stick with a WOLED in your case. And the G5 has pretty good anti-glare. It's probably the best anti-glare that's not a matte coating out there. So, but what are you able to tolerate? That's the thing. And again, if you're coming from LCD TV, it's not better than QD-OLED. People are overstating how bad it is. I'm coming from various OLEDs, so I see it. But if you're coming from like, an 8-year-old, 6-year-old LCD TV, even with a slightly lifted black, it's better than what you're getting on your LCD TV. Oh, FOMO, did I make a mistake buying this G5 65-inch? Or should I have gotten the 65-inch coming from a 43-inch? Billy, it's only a mistake if you notice the posterization and it annoys you. But it's a good TV. I have it. That's still my benchmark HDR TV. And honestly, I don't notice the posterization. When I call class, he says, hey, look at the scene. Oh, okay, I pause, I see it. But when I'm watching content, I do not notice it at all. He does though, by the way. So that's why with him, he's like, oh, the G5 is great, but I see the positive. I don't see it. So I'm fine with it. Like no one I know, normal people, they notice it. It's not until you pause, you get the scene out, and then you notice it. It's not like in every scene. So the question for you, Billy McNutt, do you notice it? If you don't, the G5 is phenomenal. It's a great TV. And the S95, I like that TV. It is, in my opinion, the best TV of 2025. Not editor's choice, that's the S90F because it's so close for so much less. But the S90F with its matte anti-glare, it's a completely different TV though, right? First of all, we had what someone else mentioned. In a bright room, the QD-OLED has that slightly lift black. That could bother you even more than the posterization you may or may not see. So I'm going to have another guy come in and say, FOMO, did I make a mistake buying the S95F? It's all about what bothers you, always. And, the lifted QD-OLEDs, that's its flaw, right? So I'm hoping maybe next year they do something about that. But don't overthink it, Billy McNutt. If you're enjoying your TV, I'm not even going to question that because that's what it is. Rod Zach, thank you for that super chat, my friend. QM8K, worth $1,000 over the QM7K? No. Let's just stop right there. The 98-inch, I think I've said this before, the QM8K is slightly brighter. But at 98 inches, do you need that extra brightness? It is so bright already. The QM8K does two things slightly better. Star field, slightly better. Brightness, obviously. But everything else, it's so similar. I have a hard time recommending the QM8K over the QM7K. And I think I've mentioned this before. The QM8K is slightly better. So if you said $200 more, yeah, take the QM8K. $1,000 more, that is not a premium I would pay, even at 98 inches. Take the QM7K. As a matter of fact, I might even suggest the QM6K. Like, Rodzak, what TV are you coming from, right? But the QM7K is good. It is a good TV, but people who are upgrading from a very old LCD TV, and when I say very old, anything over 6 years old, if you're going that big, start with the QM6K first. And if it's an improvement, you just saved a lot of money because it's that much better. Now, if you're coming from a Samsung, about 4 or 5 years old, like the QN90R or Q90R from 2019, I'd go with the QM7K because you're going to notice that contrast improvement on the QM7K. And because the Q90R was very good with its deep blacks and its specular highlights, and the QM7K is consistent with that. So yeah, but definitely no need to upgrade to the QM8K in my opinion. LS1 Mike 1997, thank you for that super chat. We're looking to stay on in the $1,000 range. Would love to get the LG QNED, but unsure of other options. 83-inch U7. I am so glad you are considering the U7. It destroys anything from LG QNED lineup. LG this year has just dropped the ball in QNED. Actually, they've dropped the ball on QNED for the last 3 years. The first year of QNED, they really took it seriously. But since then, about 3 years ago, they have just forgotten what it was. They've just rolled out old technologies. They did not improve anything. Do not get any LG QNED if you are open to getting a Hisense U75QG in the USA, right? Uh, if your budget is $1,000, let's look at the Hisense. And by the way, that's my editor's choice. That's why I'm just so excited about the sales coming up. So let me put that up real quick here. There you go. Okay, so Hisense U75, $999. There you go, 75 inches. Bump, you're done. $999, 75-inch Hisense U75QG. I would recommend that over any LG QNED at that size, especially at this price. It will destroy the QNED you're considering. Okay. And just popping in to say hello. Hey, Beverly and Leg. Oh, new picture. I love this one. Very, very emo of you guys. Kind of goth. I love it. I love it. Okay, Bebop Jazz. With a Samsung S90F 77-inch, be smarter than the A95L. Okay. Yes, it is the smarter buy. If money is important to you, or if $1,800 is important to you, it is not $1,800 better. The 77-inch A95L is the king of TVs, but after calibration. Before calibration, they're both they both have their own unique look. I personally would get the 77-inch S90F rather than pay $1,800 for the A95L. If I'm being told, hey, here's my budget, I could waffle a couple $100, but not $1,800. Get the 77-inch S90F. It's solid. Filmmaker mode, very accurate out of the box. You're good to go. Yeah. This is one where, it's you don't get a Sony because you're focused on value. Let's just put it that way. Jimmy Miller, FOMO, which would you recommend? A95L, Bravia 8, Mark II 65-inch. Old unit was an LG Pasma. Personally, I found the Bravia 8 Mark II 65-inch to be slightly brighter because they're using the new panel. They're both very similar. Just go with I like going with the latest one because it has the latest processors, and so they stay relevant longer with firmware updates. So yeah, Bravia 8 Mark II, 65-inch, fine. I'd go with that one. Now, if there's a price difference, because you didn't mention the price, if you can get the A95L for cheaper, get the A95L. They're that close. I love my G5. Hey, I like my G5 too, Billy. So you're good. Yeah, don't overthink it. Don't try to switch out because what is it? The grass is greener, right? Hope Sony has a new 100-inch. I believe they will. I really do, because this year they are entering the mid-tier entry level with the Bravia 5. But I think they're going to go whole hog next year with maybe 2 RGB LED TVs at the 100-inch size. Now, whether it's 100 inches is a different question. It's probably 98 inches, but I like the 100-inch size. Nice round number. Think Panasonic is done with USA again. I don't think they're coming out with a new TV for USA in 2026. I haven't heard anything myself. I have not heard anything myself. So you could be right. I don't want to start a panic among Panasonic fans, though. So we'll see. I hope they try one more time in 2026. Just adopt QD-OLED, right? Leave behind WOLED. But does that make a difference? I think that's another thing, is they've been gone so long before. Now that they're back, only enthusiasts remember when Panasonic was great. Here we go. FOMO, the dithering on the C5 and G5. Ratings kind of make it seem like a big deal, right? Dithering, posterization, right? These are the processing issues at launch. The answer for me is a lot has been fixed since launch. A lot has been addressed since then. Now they perform very similar to the C4 G4, which is about where we expected. I don't see the dithering, but then I don't use it for computer work, gaming. That's where you see it actually, is gamers. They have certain scenes, right? Open field, they're looking at certain things. For content, I don't see it. But I'm not sensitive to it. So if you're sensitive to it, ratings made it a big deal because they did it at launch. Now it's less of a big deal. So something to consider. All right, Bamire 7, FOMO. Samsung S95F 83-inch, 4,075, or the Sony A95L 77-inch for 3,150. Dude, gotta go with the 3,150. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? I didn't say 83-inch. Ah, okay. So that's size immersion. That's actually a pretty good deal. Let me pull up my OLED pricing right now, real quick. Let's see, move you out of the way there. 49. Yeah, that's actually a really good price. But it's not QD-OLED though. So what you're getting is, so the 83-inch S95F is a primary RGB, very similar to the G5. You're on a Tizen you're on a Tizen OS. I'd go with the size. If the room has some reflection, then you'd benefit from the matte screen. I think the size and the matte screen will definitely offset what will bother you the most, which is the reflection. The Samsung has kind of fixed their filmmaker mode. It's very accurate out of the box now across the board on all their models. So I think you're good there. And you can't make up the difference in size though. I mean, I wish Sony released an updated 83-inch, but they have not. So in this case, the 83-inch, and at that deal, that price, is really good. So really what you're paying for is, and this is across the board, 83-inch is going to cost $1,000 more, and you're getting a really good deal on the Samsung S95F. So yeah, I'd go with the Samsung. FOMO, would you choose the Bravia 5 over the LG B5 at 65 inches, mainly for streaming Netflix content? And still, the Bravia looks sharper. The B5 darks are nice. The B5, so LG B5 is an OLED. It's OLED. So the darks, shadow detail, all that good stuff, it's going to be very clear. You're not going to have blooming in certain scenes. All mini LEDs at some point is going to show their weakness. The best one at this is the Bravia 9. The Bravia 5 doesn't have enough dimming zones to clean that up. So if you're seeing more dark scenes, if your content is mostly dark scenes, get the LG B5, because a lot of you watch on a Wednesday, or a lot of these dramas where period dramas especially, very dark. So you have these dark scenes all the time. The B5 looks really good in those dark scenes, especially if there's some HDR content. You're not going to get that weird glowing, what they call ghosting, blooming, haloing that is evident on mini LEDs in those scenes. So the Bravia 5 in store looks sharper. I think it's content dependent as well, because I don't think they're sharing the same source. So you have Sony putting out their source and B5, LG putting out their source. The Bravia 5 should not look sharper. They should look very similar in the brighter content, except the Bravia 5 can get brighter in sports, because full screen mini LED always gets brighter than something like an LG B5. So if brightness is something that you need, you got to go with mini LED. But if you have light control, I go with the B5. I think you'll enjoy OLED for sure. All right. Oh, hey, thank you for that super chat, Bamire. I think we answered that question. Here we go. We have a couple more here. Sailing Arrow 89. Currently have a 77-inch S89C, 11 to 15 feet away, 83-inch OLED or 98-inch TCL Hisense, streaming movie shows, football via Apple TV 4K. Okay, I'd go with a 98-inch, no doubt. And this is why. streaming movies, shows, watching football. The 98-inch football is so amazing. On a 98-inch, I was watching that on my 98-inch in at my friend's house, and it was so great because we were watching college football and we were sitting like I'd say 10 feet away. It's perfect. So 1115, yes. Now, since you don't mention gaming, I'd go with a 100-inch Hisense U75QG. So the 100-inch U75QG, let's put that up real quick, is around $21.99. There you go. So I go with the Hisense because movies, sports, no gaming. If you have gaming and you want the gaming to be slightly more performant, like you're used to with the S89C, you might have to go with a QM6K or 7K, but otherwise I'd go with a Hisense U75QG. Let me know what you get. And Xavier Gall, thank you for that super chat. I'm trying to decide between a 2200 refurbished QN900D. Yeah, don't pay that much for refurbished QN900D. I know you're going 8K. It does nothing for you. Or Q990F with an employee discount down to 2700. Plan to use for work with 4 multiview. Okay, and I see where you're going with this. You're thinking 8K, 4 multi-view, it's going to be amazing. It doesn't make a difference. Unless it's not offered on the QN90F. If it's only offered on the QN990F, unique to that resolution, it is what it is because you need to use multi-view. But if you can get multi-view on a 4K, I think you should be okay, honestly. But I know why you're doing it. So if you get it refurbished, get it with an extended warranty. I just don't like refurbished without an extended warranty because it's a crapshoot. You might get a great deal or you might not. What kind of warranty are you looking at? If you can get an extended warranty at that price, then yeah, go with the refurbished and now you're covered. Otherwise, go with the QN990F. Normally with Samsung, I like their latest TVs when it comes to something like this because they use the latest processor and so it helps make things quicker. And multi-view is probably processing intensive. So, and the QN900D, I'd go with the QN990F with an employee discount down to 2700. But if you can get an extended warranty on the 900D to last longer than the 990F, then I'd go with the 900D with that long extended warranty. That way you can multi-view for the next few years and not have to worry about it. And Mortimex, I see your super chat, but I don't see your question. So if you can ask it again, let me see if I can find it real quick. Here you go. I see you. Oh, and I see your follows by Meyer7, so we'll hit that. FOMO, looking for a 65-inch for a bright room with a direct glare. Hisense U75QG, QM7K, or QM8K. So none of these TVs do direct glare well. It's just they don't have anything special, matte coating or any of that. You're going to see that glare. The U75QG is the brightest, almost as bright as a QM8K. QM7K I would knock out. It'd be between the U75QG or the QM8K. The question is which one handles this glare better? I think you're going to have an issue with either TV because your brightness will work. The bright TV works when you have a bright scene, sports, TV shows, news, whatever. But in dark scenes, the U75 and the QM8K, that glare, you're going to see it in the dark scene. You just have to control the glare. So I would go the U75QG personally because I like the color skin tones on that better. So start with that and see what happens. But unfortunately, none of these TVs are known for their anti-glare. Glare is very unique to your situation. If it's direct onto the TV, no TV is going to help you. And, let's see, 1 second here. Got a guest. Oh yeah, let's take this down. All right.
Away from here.
And let's
I'm on the
add. We
TV.
have a
Hello.
we have a hey, we have a guest here. Let's add our guest real quick. Oh, let me see if I can do this properly. Oh, that's the second me. Here we go. And we have Robert Zone. Hey. I know
Hello.
Robert's here. Black Friday, showing his deals. I was just answering some of the super chat, Robert. So let me take care of these super chats real quick as and then we're going to get to your special deals because Robert has some special deals he wants to share as well. And as a reminder, he is the only retailer that does calibration before he ships the TVs out. So you'll get the TV fully quality controlled, calibrated. It's ready to go. And yes, Robert will do that for you. So let me take care of a lot of these. And hey, more Team Rex. Really appreciates the channel. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's see here. And if I don't get to your questions, just keep on asking and asking. I'm just trying to catch up on everything real quick, Robert. Let's see here. Got a few super chats we'll get through, and then we'll get to you. Okay. Pervish Gajar. Thank you for your super chat. Is Hisense reliable beyond 3 to 4 years of usage? For the cinematic preference, what would you pick among 85-inch U7 QG, U7-8, or I assume you mean U75QG, or the 77-inch LG B5 versus a 65-inch Samsung S90F? So, cinematic, you have two layers. You have immersion because it's like you're at the cinema, and then you have natural skin tones, color accuracy, which again, you're like the cinema. Of this group, the 65-inch S90F will be the most accurate out of the box, but it's also the smallest. So you have that. And to your point about Hisense reliability, it doesn't matter which TV you buy. I get same complaints from Samsung, LG, and Hisense. There's always someone that it dies before the year is up or right after the factory warranty is up. I recommend setting aside a extended warranty budget for your TV, whichever one you get. This applies to Sony, Samsung, TCL, Hisense. Just it's a numbers game. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. And if you're not, even if that brand has only a 1% fail rate, if you're in that 1%, it doesn't matter to you. Oh, no, I'll never buy another LG again or Samsung again. So the Hisense reliability, mixed bag. I say get an extended warranty. Personally, I think size is very cinematic. 85-inch U75QG is phenomenal, especially if you're in a mixed lighting room. So you get immersion and it's bright enough in the mixed lighting, and it's great. If you have any kind of gaming, the B5 is a good second choice because at 77-inch, it games fine. But the 65-inch is quite small. So unless you're sitting 6 to 7 feet away, even then at 6 to 7 feet, I still get a 77-inch B5. So it'll be between the 85 or the 77 B5. And if you have very challenging lighting situations, maybe the U75QG is the way to go. But you said U78, so I don't know if Canada has a different TV though. Somebody think it might. And Xavier is thanking us. Thank you. Keep up the great work and happy holidays. Well, you're welcome, Xavier. Now, Robert, let's talk deals. So first of all, Robert will match any deal you find from an authorized dealer. So we're going to throw up the most popular TVs that he's selling at his stores. So he will sell the best mini LED TVs from Sony, Bravia 5, Bravia 9, and all of the LG flagship OLEDs, as well as the Samsung flagship OLEDs and the Sony flagship OLEDs. Robert, I'm very curious, what is your top seller right now at your store? Like, what are people walking out with? Robert, can you hear me? Maybe not. Hey, Robert, can you hear me?
Barely. It's so much noise. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Why? Okay, so why don't you hop
Um,
in? We'll wait for Robert 1 second. All right. So while Robert does his, we'll add him in a second. Let me try this again. Okay, Robert, can you hear the audio now? Is it better?
I'm still having trouble.
You want to log back in? Why don't you hang up and call back? Try that. All right. So we'll let Robert jump back in when he has a chance. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see. The Samsung Q990F is 519 euros in Spain. So you're talking about the soundbar. So you gotta get it. You gotta get the soundbar Q990F at 519 euros. That's practically free, right? That's about 600 bucks. Wow. So Samsung is giving away its flagship soundbar. That is an excellent price. There is no other soundbar I would get. And yes, Robert will call back in a moment. So he's going to share with us what he's seeing as his top sellers and his special deals. Here we go. FOMO, is the A95L worth the jump in price from a Bravia 8, or is the 8 a bad buy overall and I should consider another 77-inch option? I'm a casual console gamer and watch Blu-ray stream. So the answer is two completely different TVs. The A95L, you're getting a QD-OLED, king of TVs. The Bravia 8, even the XR8B, it's still WOLED with all of its limitations. I would personally, if you're watching watch Blu-ray stream, see, you watch Blu-ray, you want to get everything out of that Blu-ray, it is worth a jump for you because you're going to beat yourself up every time you talk about, oh, this movie looks amazing, it has this, this, this. You're wondering if it's missing from the WOLED and the Bravia 8. I feel the Bravia 8 is fine for what it is, but the A95L is a whole tier higher, and it's very obvious that it is the king of TVs if you're watching Blu-ray and you're streaming quality content. Console gaming, they're very similar either way, so you should be okay. And Robert's back, so let's try this again. All right. Robert, can you hear me?
Thank you.
All right, Robert. All right, he's on. Let's talk about value electronics and what is your top seller this year so far, Robert? Like, what are people walking out of the store in terms
Well,
of
we
the
sell
models that you carry?
high-end TVs. So we're selling a lot of G5, LG G5. We're selling a lot of Bravia 8 Mark IIs. We're selling a lot of Samsung S95F. We
So
sell a lot
Bravia Mark,
of C95B.
uh-huh.
I'm sorry about all the background noise. I can't seem to
Oh, it's
find
all right. Your volume is a little soft. So if there's a way to turn up your volume, I don't hear the background noise at all, just so you know.
it.
But if you could turn up the volume, that would be good. So you said your top sellers are the Bravia 8 Mark II, the Panasonic Z95B. So Robert, if you guys don't know, is a retailer and
Yeah,
carries the Z95B, as well as which Samsung? Which Samsung are you selling? A lot of?
the Samsung, we sell a lot of S90F and S95F.
And what about sizes? What's your biggest size coming out of your store? That or the
Well,
biggest seller in terms of size?
and again, bigger screen sizes seem to be what we sell most of. But we sell a lot of 55, 65, 77, and of course 83 inch in
Now,
OLED. And
what's
we sell
so
a lot of the new mini LEDs we're doing very well.
how about the Bravia 5? How what size is your popular
We do a
the most
lot
popular
of
size?
98-inch Bravia 5s. An
98?
OLED 98-inch is different than all the other screen sizes. So it actually
How
has a
so?
better picture. It's brighter,
Mm-hmm.
better than the 85, 65.
You know what? You bring up a very interesting point. So I've spoken to Sony about this. Sony actually makes it a point to make their larger sizes the pinnacle of performance in terms of brightness
Yes.
and everything. Whereas ratings recently complained that the larger TCL and Hisense were underperforming the 65-inch sizes, right? So if you guys haven't read the article, they're noticing, wait, how come the brightness is not where it should be at the larger sizes? Sony is going the other way. So when you're getting a Sony, whether it's a Bravia 985-inch or the Bravia 598-inch, they put maximum effort into their largest sizes. So that's kind of cool. I've noticed that about Sony's as well, because a lot of Sony owners say, hey, go with the extra size. You're getting a lot more for your money. What is this here? And we have bundles. Robert, Black Friday, any Black Friday bundles or specials you want to share with us?
Yes, there are so many great ones right now. I had sent you an email that listed all the favorites. I don't know if you still have them in or not.
All right,
Maybe
let me see.
put that screen up. And they're very aggressive promotion.
All right, maybe, let's see here. Okay, so we have the HT-A9000 soundbar promo, the Theater Bar 9, right?
Yes,
So that is with any Sony TV.
that's correct. Yes.
My favorite is the Quad. So if you guys don't know, the Sony Quad,
That thing is crazy good.
it's a
So
wireless system.
it's normally $26.99. It's on sale right now for $21.99. And that sale ends soon. And then we also give you another $200 discount if you buy it with a TV.
So if you buy, now is this any TV or only a Sony TV?
Any Sony TV.
Okay, so any Sony TV, the Quad now costs $19.99.
And
So
it's
here's my
normally
experience with,
700.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I have the Quad. I love it, and
I
I
love it.
don't think start it without a subwoofer first,
That's
and then
right.
if you enjoy it, great. You can always add the subwoofer later. The SW5 would be
Right.
what you would add, in my opinion.
That's right.
But and you don't need a center channel. Like a lot of people are like, hey, should I turn on Sony's center channel option if they have a Sony TV? I say no, don't do that. I've tested it extensively, and you could check my review on that. Without the center option, it actually sounds better, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I think the Quad is my favorite in terms of quality and ease of use, and it's so consistent with that cinematic immersion, and it's easy to kind of like place anywhere you want. So that's definitely awesome. And you have some receiver bundles, the 1000, so the STR AZ1000 ES bundle
Yes.
promo price if they buy it with a TV is $1,099, or the
That's right.
3000 ES is $1699, and then the 5000 ES is $2199, and the 7000 is $3699. That's the biggest deal. So it's normally 4,200 or so. So the bundle price is $3699. So they're saving about $500 on that one. And I like the 7000. Well, thanks to you, right? I have the 7000. We picked it up and we've been using it. It's phenomenal. So we built out our theater with the help of Valley Electronics, and we have like in walls, all
Hmm.
surround, powered by the 7000, and it is just so immersive. We're watching
Yeah,
a couple of movies. It's just like this. So you have the Quad, or you can go up to a $10,000 system. Robert actually carries all of that.
that's right.
He can completely equip your home with not just TVs, but a full-on theater build out, right, Robert? Actually, most of your people call you for a custom build out for home theaters. So if you have any questions about any Sony TV, I consider him the Sony TV expert. He is like, and yeah, sound, Robert has improved. Unfortunately, Robert has a lot of noise on his end, so he's using noise canceling, which also cuts his voice out. So, but the most important thing I think we want to leave with everyone is Robert has, if you're planning to buy more than just a TV, you want to get a soundbar with it, and you need any of the big three soundbars, Sony, Samsung, or LG.
Yes.
Robert will give you a special bundle price with the TV, Just give him a call, email him, whatever. The link is in my video description below. And of course, if you tell him FOMO sent you, he might have something special for you. And that's key, right? Is Robert takes care of his people, and he's
Yes.
the only retailer that will calibrate your TV before
That's
sending it out. So when you get it, it's ready to go. And it already has the $200, 200-hour break-in. And the calibration involves bright room, dark room,
yes.
whatever. You tell him, they'll give you a consult, right? Dwayne Davis is doing the calibration. You talk to Robert, say, hey, this is kind of like my room condition. I want to watch it dark, this. And then if you game, let them know. And they will
That's
also calibrate game mode for you. Dolby
good.
Vision as well. And so not a lot of people realize Dolby Vision needs calibration. I think that's horrible because people think, oh, it's Dolby Vision. It's ready to go. No, Sony is off. LG is off. It's not perfect. Now, you don't have to get it calibrated, but I suggest you do if you want what Dolby Vision intended, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, so Robert, when I hang around, we answer some questions, and they
Sure.
might have questions about your deals and stuff, and you could jump in and say, "Hey, I could beat that price." We have a super chat from Christopher J. Butler. Thank you, my friend. Cashed in G5 5-year on a failed 999 U8H, snagged an 899 QM8K with money left over. Gaming audio delay, even on internal speaker Xbox Series X, game mode, uncompressed. Any ideas? Interesting. So, this is the first time I've heard. So I would say send audio out of your Xbox directly to a soundbar. I don't know why. I don't know why the audio delay is happening, but it's probably happening on the TV side, obviously, right? Because using internal TV speakers, get a cheap Amazon soundbar special. Send it out of your Xbox Series X to any of the optical, if it has optical out on your Series X, send it to any soundbar with optical in, and that should at least get rid of the latency. I know it's inconvenient, and again, I don't know if there's a setting that would have changed that, but a lot of gamers, they do audio out separately to make sure there's no lag. So that's one option. The other one is, see, I know you're using eArc, right? So you're going eArc out to between your TV. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you know what? Just avoid it. Send audio out separately, and let me know if that helps. I've been so long since I've troubleshoot console issues. Oh, here we go. Okay, then you know more than me, Christopher. FOMO, it is a long time issue on Reddit with the Series X, apparently. Okay, I think that is definitely an issue on the Series X. If Reddit doesn't have a solution, and you know how obsessed people on Reddit are, I definitely don't have a better suggestion. We should have led with that. Is he Value Electronics? Robert is Value Electronics. You know, Robert Zone stands for Value Electronics, right? He is the guy that started the TV shootout, what, 30, how many years ago? 25 years ago? It's like decades ago.
It's
Before
22 years ago that I
22,
started Shootout, but I started this company 29 years ago. And I was
oh,
a TV broadcast engineer my whole life. And I was in the transition from analog TV to digital HD TV. And when I saw 1080p and Rec 709 color and 8-bit, I said, I'm going to leave my engineering job and open up a custom integration business and build movie theaters in people's houses. So that's what got me started here when I left my engineering career.
and Christopher follows. People who do what you said to direct a soundbar works fine, but there's no optical out in the Series X. So it has
No,
to be hopefully some other analog out, right, Christopher? Like
that's
a headphone out or something. That's terrible. Maybe that's why the PS5 is outselling Xbox, right? It's the little things, right? And I'm sorry to hear about the Xbox not playing nice with the TVs. Robert, do you carry the Hisense U75QG or the TCL QM7K? If so, do you match prices
Yeah.
listed on FOMO's chart? So I'll say the price I list on my chart are nothing special. These are the authorized Black Friday prices. Robert will match them. More
Yes.
importantly, if you get any of the Hisense or TCLs, you need to take advantage of his calibration because the TCL needs a little love on the color side, especially if you're getting a large TCL. I mean, if you're going to pay that much for a large TV, get some minimum calibration done with Robert for sure, because you're not going to get that anywhere else.
Thank you.
And Christopher says, Bob is the man. Love the origin story in broadcast engineering. This is why I love talking to Robert, right? He
Yeah.
is so in the weeds with the technology. So
Thank you.
yes. And let's see here.
This is my lifetime passion and professional career.
Oh, you don't have
And
to tell me. I call
I,
him on a weekend, and he's at Valley Electronics 7 days a week.
yes,
That's why I know when I come to visit to do our spring comparison. Oh,
right.
he's there all the time, right? Robert, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing. Just come on over. Let's do something.
That's right.
But yes, we're gonna probably go for another, say, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of question, guys, to cut you started on Black Friday. But ultimately, the most important thing is if you're deciding between two different TVs, err on the size more than anything else, because the little things
Right.
like peak specular highlights, overall brightness is not going to have as big an effect as immersion. So, oh, here we go. We got a question. Asaf, another regular. Thank you for dropping by, my friend. I compared the LG C5 to the S90F, and I feel the skin tones look more natural with HDR. Any way to adjust colors on the S90F? So the answer is you only have the colors in warm 1, warm 2, right? Or alternatively, you can have it calibrated. Now, filmmaker mode, the S90F, in my opinion, is actually pretty accurate. It could be that you just like more saturated skin tones, and that could look more natural to you. So playing with the different warm 1, warm 2 is the fastest way to do it. Otherwise, you end up going into the color palette, adding red, this and that, and you can't do that. You have, at that point, you have to talk to a calibrator, and then they will tune it to your preference because they'll go, look, this is D65, this is reference, what do you think? And you'll be like, well, that still sucked. And then so he's gonna have to ask you, okay, what is it you want? And now they will hand tune to your preference. And there's nothing wrong with that, people, because everyone sees color differently. So you may not be happy with the way reference looks, right? So you may need to have a calibrator kind of hand tune the TV to your preference. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to second guess what you feel is natural. But Robert, let me ask you, do you get the request often where people are like, Robert, can you tune it differently? Do you get that request?
Yes, we do. And we can do that. We also ask for pictures of the room and we ask for the type of content you like to watch. So we calibrate to your particular needs. But the calibration is done by this famous calibrator, Dwayne Davis, goes by the nickname
Mm-hmm.
D. And he's the top calibrator probably in the world. So you're going to get a
Yes,
top professional calibration,
absolutely. I love Dwayne.
a full calibration. So, like you said, Dolby Vision, HDR is calibrated.
HGIG, just ask them, right?
Full
Now,
calibrated.
gaming is a special thing. It takes longer, so that's a
Yeah,
small cost. If you're a serious gamer that
yeah,
want HGIG to be perfect, Dwayne will
yes.
definitely be on the phone with you and gives you the pros and cons. But yes, it's amazing that you guys calibrate gaming too. Now, Christopher, I love this question because I have the
Yes.
same question. Do you know what TCL micro contrast does? Answer is doesn't do anything. So a lot of these settings on Hisense, TCL, a lot of TVs, right? No matter what you do, you don't see any changes at all. And I wonder if it's just there to keep you busy. It may do something and it may be unique to this one scene and this one situation, but I've seen this across a lot of brands, right? It's
Right.
like this feature doesn't do much, so I just leave it off. And micro contrast is one of those things. Um, if you watch any of my live streams or the reviews, I try to play with everything, and oftentimes like, wait, this didn't do anything, right? Now the things that what does the biggest changes are enhanced active contrast, right? Some call it enhanced contrast or contrast enhancement or active contrast. Those are the big
Mhm.
ones. Tone mapping, dynamic tone mapping on off is the other big one, and black
Mhm.
level, right? Or shadow detail. Those will give you quick, sudden changes to either more shadow detail, right? Raising the blacks or
That's right.
crushing the blacks. Play with those because micro contrast, and every TV does it, gives it a different name, doesn't do much. So yeah, don't worry about it. It's I think just to keep ADHD in us busy. And here's one. Hey FOMO, looking at the QM8K 75-inch. People either say sports look terrible or they look great. Bravia 5 feels like a step back. Is it worth going for the Bravia 5 for upscaling? Thanks. So you're conflating a few things, so let's break it down. On the QM8K 75-inch, people say sports look terrible or look great. First of all, sports mode does normally look terrible. So if you all you need is brightness, don't go into sports. Stay in standard, choose warm 2 or warm 1, right? Whatever skin tones are natural, and then take your motion all the way to anti-judder, and suddenly you have sports, right? Max out the brightness, play with active contrast or enhanced contrast to allow you to read the scores a little bit better. That's it. If you go into sports mode, they way push green really hard, push blue really hard, and suddenly everything looks like really cool. Some people like that, but you can get the same brightness and standard without having to go into the crazy blue and greens. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, the Bravia 5, compared to the QM8K, it is a step back in two things: ultimate contrast and brightness. However, motion, scaling, all of that could be better depending on your source. So YouTube TV, right? I always use that. If you watch sports on YouTube TV, they have the most challenging bit rate issues. It doesn't matter if it says 1080p. It's like all this blocky and stutter and whatever. And Sony has been known to address that better than other TVs. Samsung and LG are right there with Sony. The issue is always TCL and Hisense, it depends on the source. So we don't know if the source is at fault or the TV is at fault. But if you go with the Bravia 5, at least you know the TV is not at fault for that. It's probably the source because Sony does it consistently well across all their brands or all their model lineups, right? Though what you are stepping back is absolute contrast in a pitch dark room. The QM8K is slightly better, slightly deeper blacks. However, in a bright room, you're on a 98-inch TV or 75-inch in your case, you're going to notice that the Bravia 5, watching news, sports, streaming, looks very similar. It comes down to the other stuff. So if you need that extra brightness and punch, get a QM8K because it is very bright. But if you don't need the extra brightness, and right now you're talking about the processing and upscaling, go with the Bravia 5. And I personally like the color out of the box of the Bravia 5 because with the QM8K, definitely, I would suggest you get it calibrated because even the filmmaker mode, although better, it still pushes red a bit more than it should. So just something to think about. And the QM8K also is over brightened. That's why it looks bright. It's not accurately bright. It pushes the EOTF a bit brighter than normal. So if you like that extra brightness, although inaccurate, the QM8K does that very well. Okay. And we have a compliment. Christopher wants to share. FOMO, tell Robert, my mind was blown when I found out that judder actually happens in the human brain rather than the TV. And the reason why progressive scan CRTs do not cause it in the brain. This sounds like a language that Robert understands. Yep, that was during the time when Robert was around. Hey, thank you for the super chat, Pinguino. Hey FOMO, A95L, 65-inch, open box for 2000 or swap it for a 77-inch S90F. I'm concerned for Samsung's image quality. So Samsung's image quality is fine. In filmmaker mode, it looks great. I'd go with a Samsung 77-inch. I thought you were going to say I was concerned about Samsung's reliability, but the image quality, Samsung has addressed accuracy about 3 years ago, maybe, yeah, 3 years ago with the release of the QN series, NeoQLED. They worked really hard on making filmmaker mode accurate, no longer over brightening, over saturating like they used to do in the past during the Q90R days. So I am absolutely fine with Samsung's image quality. Personally, I find out of the box they're more accurate than Sony. Sony is pleasant out of the box, and that's what Sony does. They're like, you know what? We want to make it pleasant to viewers. Samsung's like, we're going to be directly filmmaker mode. This is what it should be. This is reference. We don't care if it's pleasant. That's the fault of the creator. Sony's kind of like, you know what? The creators aren't even doing a good job. We're going to make it look a little bit better. So a lot of people prefer Sony without the calibration. I get it. But if you get the Sony calibrated, it'll look just like the S90F as well. So something to think about. Does the bigger size make up for it? It more than makes up for it. So you got accuracy, filmmaker mode, and you get the size. Go with the S90F 77-inch. And if you want a little bit of something, give Robert a call. He carries the 77-inch S90F. It's one of his biggest sellers, right? ValueElectronics.com. How's it all going? It's going great. Beverly, Leg, are you guys out shopping? I just love this new look, right? It's so goth. This is an excuse to get you in there. It's me and Matt. All right, the team is in. I got the Samsung Q990D for $689. You could get that deal through Samsung Direct as an employee. That's a good point. So Samsung offer program, and you saw my video, my last video I put out there. If you're an offer program member, .edu, military, corporate employee, corporate partner, AAA member, right? The auto club in the US. Once you're in, you will get that price. That is an excellent price. $689, I get that all day long. Don't pay twice as much for the Q990F, although good. The $689, you cannot beat that price. What you're getting on the 990F is the subwoofer is slightly smaller, more compact, but puts out a big sound, right? You don't lose on the low bass, but that's about it. You got one or two extra features that I don't really use. I'd go with the Q990 for that price. And Christopher asks, hey, what do you leave peak luminance on? HDR, always leave it on high. Like now, QM8K or QM9K has this boost, doesn't do anything. QM8K also has something similar to peak luminance boost, doesn't do anything. Leave it on high, that's accurate HDR. Now, in SDR, then, you play with it to your heart's content because nothing's properly accurate anyway. I see it because pulsing of the contrast on brighter sections of the screen, like a split screen, YouTube creator's face on one side and content on the other. Okay. Yeah, you're seeing edge case issues. Then I haven't seen it, but then I didn't put that content on specifically. But if that's something that bothers you, that you might have to play with that peak luminance. But normally for accurate HDR, you want it on high. Okay, so I'm no fool. I'm undecided between the Hisense Pro 2 or the TCL QM6K. 8 to 13-foot view, very dark room. I'm assuming for value, 98-inch QM6K is like just over 1,600. I'm sorry, that cannot be beat. 16, just above 1,600 for 98-inch, perfect for 8 to 13-foot view in a very dark room. I think you'll be fine with the QM6K there, depending on your budget. I think at that price, Hisense doesn't have, they have the U6, but I'd go with the QM6K. And what dates are CES? Robert, are you going to CES 2026? I will be there as well. So the dates are first week of January, I think. It's the week right after New Year's. So let me pull it up real quick for you guys because I will be there. Yes, it starts the 4th, Monday the 4th. So I'll be there that Saturday the 3rd, or that Saturday Saturday the 3rd, and coverage starts on the 4th. We'll have a live stream, and Monday it's a go, so it's going to be fun. Oh, okay. This is a delicate question. How long will Black Friday prices last? They don't, I mean, they last through the weekend, right, Robert? And then come Monday, they go back up. And now they may drop again later in the year, maybe right before Christmas or the holidays. But for sure, if you want to buy a TV, you got to buy it this weekend for those prices. And whether
Right.
we will see, right, whether we will see the prices again depends on the brand. Sometimes we don't see it again until spring. So you're either going to get it now or wait until spring when the 2026 is announced and they're trying to get rid of 2025, and then it might drop again. But it's Black Friday for 2025 normally is the lowest, and then it'll go up, and then you're going to have to wait until late spring. So it's not like it won't come back ever, but then your inventory is limited. So curious about 2026 Samsung QD OLED. So this is a really good question, Asaf. I have found OLED to be where they need to be. I cannot envision improving anything on QD OLED other than bright room, that raised black we all talk about. Right? If they could eliminate that, that'd be great. But if they don't eliminate that and it's slightly brighter, I'm not impressed. I think you might as well just save money and go with 2025. Because at this point, slightly brighter doesn't do anything for me at all. Ah, here's a good question. FOMO, what are you best? Recording streaming sources for cutting the cord. YouTube, you mentioned bitrate problem, and best extended warranty company for TVs. Okay, so streaming sources for cutting the cord. If you're looking at streaming, if you do it on Apple TV, that's the best. Whatever you can stream on Apple TV, you're going to get the highest bit rate via the Apple TV's server system. So if you get an Apple TV, you're guaranteed the best bit rate, period. Whatever you're getting through Apple TV for what is there. So start with that. Streaming source, Apple TV. And what I use for movies is Kaleidoscape. So technically, it's not really streaming because I'm downloading a whole movie onto my server. But if you want the best in terms of just quality, you have Bravia Core. So it used to be called, I think it's Bravia Movies now. So the Sony Bravia system has the highest bit rate that's not super expensive Kaleidoscape. So Bravia, formerly Bravia Core, that movie service from Sony. If you have a Sony TV, it's there. You can't avoid it. Then you have Kaleidoscape, which is super expensive. Now, the best extended warranty company for TVs. I'll defer that to you, Robert, because Robert uses third-party extended warranty company. What is it you use for TVs?
Well, we use two companies right now. We use CPS because they do accidental damage
Oh, I
coverage.
like that.
So if the TV breaks because it fell on the floor or something, they will cover that. And we also use it's that tip of my tongue. Another company which I actually also like, and they
Okay,
just are insurance companies. So they're just hoping that you don't need to file a claim with them, but you always
I
let
love
me
it.
know, and I
Right,
work
right, right.
behind the scenes to make sure you're treated properly.
Excellent. So there you go. So John, give Robert a call and he'll tell you which one. Now, outside of that, you always see the same ones everywhere. Allstate, which
Yes,
is I think used by Costco maybe and Amazon. What is your experience with Allstate, Robert? Not to throw anyone under the bus, but
good.
do you
They're good,
they're
but
good?
we like
Okay.
this company Mac MACK, and we also like CPS. Those two are my
Okay.
favorite warranty companies. And maybe partly because we can work so closely with their management to make everybody
hmm
happy that has the warranty with them.
And one thing, John, to keep in mind is a lot of these warranty companies, they're sticklers for detail. So if you say burn in, they'll run away from you. Let Robert make the claim. So one thing that Robert didn't mention is he tells me this all the time. If you buy a TV from Value Electronics and you have a claim, let Robert do it. He's got the
That's right.
language down. He's going to say exactly what needs to be said to either get it repaired or replaced. Because oftentimes we put a foot in our mouth. Yeah, I've been gaming 24/7. I watch CNN. I got burned. And they're like, oh, goodbye. Like,
You're not allowed to use the word
denied.
burn. You're not allowed to use
Yes,
that
no,
word.
no.
You could
Robert's
say
like,
I have some funny images on the screen. We can describe it, but we can't use the word burn in.
right. I can't get rid of this image of Jay Leno. It's like his face, the
Okay.
giant chin is still there.
Yes.
I love it. But those are the little things that I love having a retailer is
Yeah.
he'll help you navigate that entire because you're going to come back for another TV, so he needs to be there for you even when you do a claim. So excellent point, Robert. Ernie, thank you for that super chat. Looking to upgrade from my 85-inch QM8K, excellent TV, by the way. In my opinion, the QM95A and the QM90A was peak Samsung, and they've just kind of hovered since then. Looking at 83-inch G4, G5, S95F, 85-inch Bravia 9. Okay. Mostly watch TV, movies, streaming, and slight gaming. TV will be in a basement with slight light. Thoughts? S95F. Because slight light, that's perfect for the matte anti-glare. Oh, wait, but you're coming from 85-inch. Go with the Bravia 9. This is why. 85-inch QN90A, mini LED. The Bravia 9 is a better QN90A. Specular highlights will be brighter than the QN90A. Blacks will be slightly blacker. Shadow detail will destroy the QN90A. So you're getting a QN90A and you're not going down in size. Because I forgot you had an 85-inch. With the 83, no matter what, you may notice the 2 inches. It's going up 2 inches, like, come on, did I pay for that? But when you go down, like, wait a minute, is the bezel smaller? You gotta at least stay the same. Go with the Bravia 9 85-inch. Now that I know you're coming from a first generation mini LED, which is what the Samsung is, the Bravia 9 to me is peak mini LED. No TV maker is gonna do better than the Bravia 9. That's why they're releasing the RGB LED, RGB mini LED next year, right? It's like, okay, well, we've done all we can. Let's see if we can push the technology a bit more. So with the Bravia 9, you got peak mini LED. That is what mini LED should be, and you'll be happy. And gaming, slight gaming, it's perfect for slight gaming. I'm fine with it. And let's see, basement slight with slight light, yeah, Bravia 9 is not gonna have a problem with that. So yep, there you go. And is the Bravia 9 a big seller for you, Robert? Very big. All right.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love that Bravia 9. That's my favorite LCD TV by far.
Mine too. Mine too, for sure. Here we go. Xavier Gall. Thank you for the super chat. Hi again. The Odyssey Ark Gen 2, which is a gaming monitor, huge Arc, or upgrade to the QN900F or the 990F. So those are both 8K TVs. Power user of my Arc for its multi-view work gaming. Current Arc is broken, so replace or upgrade. These are only TVs with 4 multi-view. Got it. So that's the multi-view. So you're right. So when it comes to getting a Samsung TV that uses advanced technology, you really have to take the latest Samsung TV because support lasts longer and the processor is more powerful to support whatever features they have. And that's how Samsung and LG work. Every year, they add just enough processing to support what they need to do. And you're getting that additional processor each time. That is important when you're looking at the most advanced features, which you are. I feel the multi-view is one of the more advanced features. Go with the QN990F. I think that you'll be happy. I mean, it's a slight premium, but you're already looking at that price point. You might as well just do it right and not look back. And let's see. Let's check my
By the way,
super chat to make
one
sure.
little thing, if I may,
Yes,
is
please.
the first week of January, we're going to be the one and only dealer that gets Samsung's micro LED.
That new micro-RGB, right?
Yes, we're going to get it
Yes.
85-inch up to 135-inch. And
And
with
the 135 is the price of a Honda Accord, right?
it's not going to be
I
that
can't
bad.
wait.
We have
Well,
we
you
have
know what? If it's a lot cheaper than expected, yeah, for sure. And I know
yes,
Brian's going to cover that. He's
yes,
really excited to drop by and take a look for sure.
yes, yes.
And is the calibration service extra? Absolutely, Danbo. Now, it's
Yeah.
not super expensive. However, because Dwayne is coming by to calibrate a bunch of TVs, you're going to get more competitive pricing going through
Yeah.
Robert than if you asked a calibrator to come to your home. Because
Yeah.
he's there literally 3-4 days straight, calibrating 5 to 6 TVs a day. So you're kind of getting a volume discount, right? And that is helpful. So yeah, if you want the best price and calibration and you don't need them to be in your home, which is always going to be an extra expense, definitely give Robert a call.
And please always tell us that you found out about us through FOMO. That
Mm.
means a lot to me personally and professionally. And I will do everything that I can do to make it the best deal possible in every way. FOMO's a valued friend. I so
Oh, you know,
admire.
I was going to say, I bought my first Blu-ray player for this channel, the
Yeah,
UB820, through Value, and I didn't even know Robert at the time. I just heard, hey,
yes.
this guy does sort of great service. So, and everyone ran out, by the way. And I'm like, oh, you know
They
what?
got to send
Let's
you
give.
those new magnetars. We just got them in. They
Oh,
are incredible.
or if you go high end, you got the Magnetars.
Yeah, I'm going to send you
Yes.
one. You got to
No,
have this. This is
no.
crazy good. There's one thing you need to be warned about before you get the magnetar. You're never
Yeah,
going to want to leave your house again.
that's what I hear.
Yeah, this thing is world class. Watch all your favorite shows again. You're going to see and hear them
Well,
much
it's kind
differently.
of like it's an Oppo that's been flexed, right? You got upgraded DACs and you got upgraded audio and everything. So, oh,
Yes,
I get it.
I'm
I'm
sending you
looking to,
one right away.
nah, I'm going to make you send it to Brian. I'm going to have him suffer through the awesomeness of
Dude,
it
you
all.
need one. You need one. You need
And
crazy.
Kosh, no, I know it's good. I know it's good. Remember, I need slow motion. That's the one thing it's missing. I need
Yes.
stop and slow. And as soon as they get that in, that's it. I'm in. Kaushik Vakumar asks, I'm looking to buy a 48-inch B5. Is it good? Yes, it is.
Good. Yes.
Get it. It's LG makes great small OLEDs.
Yes.
And Jeremy, FOMO, I just bought an LG G4 83-inch. Due to listening and your mindset not emphasizing brightness as much as size and immersion, my friend, you got both, by the way. And picture
Um,
quality. I'm coming from a 65C7. Yeah, no, that's perfect. You're going to love it. The G5 is slightly better here and there, but overall, you're going to have a hard time distinguishing these two. We had them side by side at your shop a couple of months back. Remember in the spring, we had the G4 next to the G5, and short of vivid mode, I was unable to distinguish them. Best way to contact Robert for a purchase. So he responds to email, or you can call him.
yes.
What is the phone number you'd like him to call? Because it's on your website anyway. What's the best phone number to call you at? Literally, if you call him right now, he's going to turn around and pick up the phone. I've had this
Yes.
happen many times.
Yes. So it's 914
914
723 3344. And I'm very sorry to have to
3344.
leave. I have to leave in another moment or two
Oh,
because we have a
perfect.
family
No,
dinner.
I know. No, leave when you need to.
I don't want to stop anything that's going on here. This is a great video.
Well, yeah, the live stream, we're here to help the viewers, and they are just enjoying themselves. Who enjoys Black Friday shopping more than us, right?
That's right.
And we have a super chat from Lalo. Thank you. Hey, little FOMO. Honest take on the Sony XR8B versus the Bravia 7 for a living room with controlled lighting. Yes, get the Sony Bravia 8B. It's an OLED TV.
Yes.
You have controlled lighting. You're going to love OLED. It's just the Bravia 7 ultimately is Sony's mini-LED mid-tier. A lot of people like the Bravia 5 even more. So, don't deal with LCD TVs if OLED is in your wheelhouse. Will it
Well,
be a major shift from the X85K for movies? Absolutely. I mean, shockingly enough, it'll actually be a little bit brighter. But more importantly, you're getting the contrast that the X85 does not have. So
that's right.
that one didn't even have dimming zones. So yeah, no, go with the Bravia 8B for sure. And John Raker, FOMO, Robert, FOMO sent me your best deal, please, on a Sony 77-inch Bravia Naira 885L with Oh, he's going for the full package: calibration, QC, extended warranty, sent
Yes.
to Northeast Florida. John, he does have a special deal for you. Give him a call. There are some
Yes.
things that he cannot mention online,
Good.
but you got
Yes.
his phone number. I posted it, and his website has his phone number, right? Click on the website. But yeah, do that instead of emailing because this is a nice package you have put together. Thank you so much, John, for that follow up. And Robert Conrad, another regular. Hey guys, hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I'm still full, by the way. Thanks so much for the video. Can't wait for 2026 TVs. And I want to rant. How many of you guys eat pumpkin pie? To me, it is textureless goop with a lot of cinnamon. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
just eating cinnamon and spices. Like, there's a reason it's only served once a year, and it's tradition. But I'm sorry, man, I cannot do pumpkin pie. Why do people keep on bringing pumpkin pie? So I don't know what your opinion is on pumpkin pie, Robert. I'm like, no more pumpkin pie.
we
I'll
had a
eat
lot of it
turkey.
yesterday,
Yeah, no,
and,
yesterday.
and I'm very sorry to have to leave now,
Go, go,
but
go. Thank you so
I
much for coming by, Robert.
will
And
follow
we'll
up
make
with you,
sure
and I'll follow
Robert's
up with
link.
the questions that are listed here.
Yes. Yeah, your link is
And
in the video description below. Click on it, and he's a good friend
thank
of the
you.
channel. Thank you. See
Thank,
you later, Robert.
thank you. Take care. See you shortly.
All right. Yes. Yeah. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for asking. And it's all about family, right? It's honestly, it's like the food takes a side, and I'm the one cutting the turkey normally because I just love whipping out my knife and just going to town on it. But ultimately, it's so fun to see people eat and talk and have fun. I just love that. And Thanksgiving is a chance for one excuse, maybe two excuses a year to get together. Love it. And I cannot wait for 2026 TVs either. Same here. Mad Matt, thank you for that super chat. I canceled the U7QG, ordered the U8 only for the extra color and black levels. Was this a mistake? So you are getting the extra brightness, extra black levels. However, skin tones are slightly different. So you may not notice it. Without a reference monitor next to it, not noticeable. The brightness is similar, but yes, black levels and I believe the blooming control is slightly better. Watch my comparison and you'll see the difference. So I compared the two a few months back, right? It was a live stream. I had the U7 and I had the U8, and they were so close, trading blows, although the U8 did have the advantage in black levels in certain scenes, but then the colors were slightly off, slightly. But I had a reference monitor or I think maybe a Bravia 9 for you guys to look at. But either one's fine. They're both great TVs. It just felt like the value of the U75 is so close. Like, wait, why am I spending extra? You could do worse. I went with the 85 for 1700. Could I do better? Well, let's see. Let me take this OLED down. U75. Let's see. 85 inch. Okay. I didn't even list it because I didn't think it was a great deal. So you did it for 1700. Is it $500 better? It's not a mistake. It's slightly better. And I think that's why I didn't list it. I felt like the U75 is so close, but you're saving like $400. So, your money, my friend. But $400, you can't do that much better because it is a U8. And the question is, you cancel the U7QG you ordered. Did you see it? So this is the one thing that is interesting to me. You guys have ordered these TVs, right? And you're not alone, Mad Matt, so I'm not going to pick on you, but many people have done this. LG OLED, Samsung OLED, Sony TVs, right? It hasn't even arrived yet. So in the 7 days it takes between clicking buy and then receiving the TV, you watch so many videos, me and many other reviewers, you read so many articles, right? You go through ratings, database, and you're comparing everything. And then 3 days in, you haven't received the TV yet. You know what? I made the wrong TV. You immediately cancel and you order the other TV. If you see the TV and it's disappointing, I get it. Replace it. You haven't even seen the TV yet. So I don't want to say you made a mistake because the U8 isn't terrible. It's a pretty good TV. But I find it interesting that you cancel. Now, if you've seen it, if you saw the U75, you're not happy, absolutely. Go to a one level up and you'll get slightly better contrast, slightly better black levels. But if you see it and you're happy with it, but you think that this is amazing, this can be even better, is it? Is it? I don't know. It's all content driven. Okay, Hamish McNaught, thank you for that super chat. 65-inch S90F 1100, good price by the way, or 77-inch S90F 1750, or 85-inch TCL C7K. Wow, completely different technologies. The S90F is good technology. It is peak OLED in my opinion, excellent. But then you have slightly larger 85-inch. If you're gonna go with a TCL mini LED, go 98, like C6K for 1500, right? That makes the drop in image quality worthwhile because you're getting the immersion. But don't go from 77 to 85, but then drop to mini LED. It would either be a 77-inch S90F or for around that price, a 98-inch C6K. And I would choose the 98-inch. At that point, I'm like, okay, the immersion all day long. Rayor, thank you for the super chat. Sorry. Samsung content, sports, Hisense U75 75-inch for a $995, or S90F 77-inch for $1395, or Bravia 5 77 or 75-inch, $1395, semi-bright room. The S90F 77-inch is bright enough. The U75 is super bright. I mean, the U75 is just a very bright TV, overkill, in my opinion. And when I say super bright for sports or whatever, but accurate content, it's the same brightness. They look the same on all of them. It's when you elevate the brightness beyond the creator's intent, beyond reference, that's when the Hisense takes off, right? So I don't think you need it in a semi-bright room. You might as well go for the higher image quality of the 77-inch S90F, $1395. That I would choose that over the Bravia 5 for sure, because it's the same price and you're getting amazing contrast, QD-OLED luminance. Yeah, go with the 77-inch S90F for the same price as the Sony Bravia 5. All right. TS88 199. Thank you for the super chat. What's the difference between the Bravia 8 and the XR8B? I hear they are the same, but what exactly? The image quality is the same, but I think the audio kind of sucks on the XR8B, and the stand mount has more options or something like that. Uh, Essentially, they stripped out some of the audio things, I think, and some of the hardware, but the image quality hardware is identical. It's the other stuff to make it cheaper, right? So, but the panel, the processor, all the essentials and the image quality is the same. I think the audio may not be as good. I spoke to Sony about it, and it's so minor. But if you're saving a lot of money, get the XR8B because the image quality is the same. It's kind of like a slightly stripped down version. Slight. Okay. And Mad Matt says, I saw a ton of reviews and the U8 had better colors in the videos to me. I was in love with QM9K, but so spendy. Also, I'm going from a QM851G in a 65-inch. Okay, so right there, we know you're used to punchy, bright, a lot of great stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. I saw a ton of reviews and the U8 had better colors in the videos to me. So let's start with a ton of reviews. Every reviewer has their thing, pet peeves, what impresses them the most, and measurements and all that, right? First and foremost, you have to throw the measurements out the window if that's all you're relying on. And this includes ratings. The measurement is to standardize what the TVs are like relative to each other, but it doesn't standardize your experience. What it does is it gives you a relative comparison if all you do is watch patterns and meters, which is not the case. We assume, and I've been at fault for this as well, we assumed in the past that measurements on meters and patterns translate to the same relative performance in real content, streaming, movies, Blu-ray. Definitely not the case. Internal apps perform differently. Streaming HDMI perform differently. Blu-rays perform differently. Doesn't matter what the measurements are. Consistently, we've seen TVs measure really well, and then you put on a movie like, what happened? This is not reflective of the relative measurement at all. Sony consistently underperforms on measurements and yet beats LG in certain brightness scenes. Like, wait, what happened? Isn't it supposed to be less bright? And so after a couple of those over a course of years, many reviewers and myself use the calibration, use the meters and stuff just to give us an idea of the competency of the TV. But when you put on real content, tone mapping jumps in and changes everything. Suddenly, what you saw was amazing shadow detail. The tone mapping jumps in with the processing, and then now you're going to hand tune it again, right? So don't rely on the meters beyond general guidelines. QM9K, everyone comes out, yes, I see 6,000 nits. I do not see it because I put on real content. But on the meters, I don't doubt it's 6,000 nits. But on real movies that demand 6,000 nits or 4,000 or 3,000, QM90K could not deliver, but the Bravia 9 and the QM8K did better. So right there, I know, not worth it. Now, U8 had better colors in the videos to me. So here's another thing, right? I know it's saturated. The question is it oversaturated? Better colors, this is why I always have a reference monitor when I do comparisons. If the reference monitor shows pink, but then the U8 shows hot pink, without the reference monitor, oh my God, it looks amazing, it's hot pink. You put in the reference monitor, oh wait, that's a bit too pink. And that's the point. If you see reviews where it's in a vacuum, it's going to look great, but is it pleasant? If you get the same TV and then the lips are bright red, like, wait a minute, that bright red looks so much better when the orchid was bright red. Yeah, bright red orchid, inaccurate, who cares? But the guy shows up and their lips are like glowing, right? Wait, that's just wrong. And so that's why I have to have a reference monitor because I don't know. My eyes are also full. Wow, it looks amazing. Which TV is better? And so everyone's saying, oh, the U8K looks so much better. The U7 and the QM7, the lips aren't red enough. Look at that, that's amazing. And you put in the reference monitor. Oh, okay, U8 didn't do it right. So you have to be careful about seeing things in a vacuum without something next to it. And if you do have something next to it, then you have to ask, well, what's accurate, right? So I found the U75 to be more accurate. Doesn't mean that's for you. You might like it oversaturated. There's nothing wrong with that. Most Samsung owners are in dynamic mode. So you can tell they don't care about accuracy at all. So it's okay, Mad Matt, if you want the extra saturation of the U8, but don't say better colors. You can say more saturated colors out of the box, and that's fine. But better will be argumentative with most people who say, wait, isn't better supposed to be more accurate? Isn't that better? Opens a different can of worms. But better is subjective. So yeah, no, I don't doubt it. Yeah, I think the U8 is a fine decision. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I had to kind of deconstruct your comment a little bit. Downbow 999. 65-inch Samsung S95 2000 special offer, Bravia 9, 2300. So 2000, 2300. Room has some windows glare. I watch some broadcast TV. Unsure about the glare coating. Okay, so this is a really good point, Danbo. It's not a universal cure-all. You have to bring it home and see how your direct light affects the S90F. Some people swear by it, but I will tell you there is one weakness. If it's a direct light, we're talking like a bright pinpoint sunlight, directly hits that coating, it's unwatchable. Hits it at the right angle, at the right brightness, unwatchable. Now, instead of anti-reflection, the whole screen just bursts with this glare from the sun. But it has to hit it at that direct angle, right? I don't know if that's your situation at all. You have to bring it home and check it out. The Bravia 9 has a different problem. At a certain angle, instead of that kind of glow that's on the matte screen, you have a rainbow effect that makes it unwatchable. So choose one, bring it home, and see if it works, because it's so unique to your direct lighting angle. But I'd start with a Samsung, and if that doesn't work, bring home the Bravia 9, and if that doesn't work, you might have to go with a different $2,000 TV. And let's see what we have here. S90F. There you go. Go with a 77-inch S90F and see if that works better. But now G5 has one of the better coatings out there. So at $19.99, you have the G5 that's only 65-inch. Yeah, the G5 at 65. So G5, excellent anti-glare. It's not matte, but I think it's better than the Bravia 9, the G5's anti-glare. So I would consider the 65-inch G5 as well. It's probably one of LG's best anti-glare coating they've made to date. All right, we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes, maybe less. So ask up. And happy Black Friday. Here we go. FOMO, 98-inch C6K 1657. Oh, it's not that far apart. 1650, 1900. So your 250. 250 is actually pretty good. But 98 inches, you know what? Your contrast will be a step up. Your specular highlights will pop in HDR. I'd go with the C7K 1900, 98-inch. Now, if you really need to save money and you're already pushing it at 1650, then get the C6K. But if your budget was 1900 to begin with, C7K is fine. I like that TV enough at that price. Oh, Ahmad, good question. What's the reason why we need to wait on micro-LED? So micro-LED, real micro-LED, right? There is no reason. I think micro-LED is not going to happen. It's too expensive, and the image quality, first of all, everyone wants it, the 10,000 nit brightness. You can't. It's just too hot. Micro-LED, you drive it to 10,000 nits, it's going to melt your TV. But then micro-LED at 2,000, 3,000 nits, we're already there with OLED. So what does micro-LED bring to the table? Longevity? But you're paying so much more, you might as well, over the course of 10 years, buy 3 OLEDs, or over 12 years, than 1 micro-LED and hope it lasts 12 years, because something will fail in 12 years. I honestly don't see a use case for micro-LED as long as it continues to be, we continue to wait for a performance that's so similar. That's the problem. Okay. Okay. Christopher, should I have gone for the QM7K at $100 less than QM8K Black Friday deal? No. QM8K is fine. I mean, at $100, that's fine. You are getting the contrast improvement and black levels. I would choose a QM8K at the $100 difference. You're good. And FOMO, will lower pricing for OLED next year also push the 2025 OLED models to lower prices? Yes, that is the theory. That's what LG is promising. Well, for 2026. So yeah, but it may not push 2025 lower. Ironically, you may see 2026 lower than 2025 because they're implementing all new processes to lower the prices, but 2025 is locked into its cost of production. It may not end up dropping any lower. You may see 2026 lower than 2025, and in that case, go with 2026. It depends on how they do their accounting and how they want to get rid of their TVs. All right, we're doing flash here. 1 more minute, I'm gone. Yes, I agree. Side reflections, direct light, S90F, you're going to see reflections. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Compare projector. I need to follow up. Immersion and watchability. Hisense Pro 2 projector or 90-inch QM6K. The room is mostly dark. I go with the projector. So that's what I have right now. Is I've had the X Pro 3 projector, and I had it at 120 inches. And same with you. Room is mostly dark. I'd take that. So first of all, with a projector, never blooming ever. At worst, you're missing out on a little HDR impact, but the immersion makes up the difference. I go with the projector. Yep. Okay, and oh, well, you're welcome, Matt. Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap up right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and post in the comments below. I'll try to cash through it over the weekend. So we have Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, just ask away. And until next time, my friends, enjoy your Black Friday and stop the FOMO.